been meditating for years. You sit every day, you breathe deeply. Still, something. I know exactly how you feel. There's a secret the meditation industry doesn't want you to discover. A secret Eckhart Tolle revealed only once, in a private conversation. A conversation few have ever heard. And today, I'm breaking that silence. What I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes will change your relationship with inner peace forever. But first, you need to understand a truth that might hurt a little. Meditation simply isn't enough. I know, you've probably thought it was your fault, that you weren't good enough, that your mind was too chaotic to meditate, that others seemed to succeed where you failed. But what if I told you the problem was never you? What if I told you there's something that happens in just 2 minutes, something that goes beyond traditional meditation, something Eckhart Tolle calls the secret door of presence? I'm going to show you exactly what it is. I'll teach you the technique, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why millions are stuck in meditation, never finding true peace. But before we get there, to understand what really happens when you close your eyes to meditate. Imagine your mind as a lake. During meditation, you try to calm the waves on the surface. You focus on your breath, observe your thoughts, attempt to create tranquility, and it works for a few moments. But something strange happens. The more you try to control, the more your mind resists. The more you force peace, the more it slips through your fingers like sand. Traditional meditation makes a fundamental mistake. A mistake that keeps you trapped in an endless cycle of effort and frustration. It tries to silence the mind through the mind. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline, using the very thing you want to transcend to try and transcend it. Eckhart Tolle discovered this after years of profound suffering. He didn't find peace through meditation. He found something beyond it, something he calls direct presence. And the difference is radical. In meditation, you're an observer trying to control. In direct presence, you simply are. There's no effort, no control, no you trying to make something happen. There's only this moment, this breath, this life happening through you. But how do you access this? How do you shift from trying mode to being mode? Here's where the 2-minute technique comes in. It's so simple your mind won't to reject it. Your mind will say, this is possibly work. That's exactly the trap. We've been conditioned to believe spiritual transformation needs to be difficult, that we need to meditate for hours, that we need to suffer to find peace. That's a lie. Peace isn't hidden behind years of practice. It's here, now, available in this very moment. And Eckhart Tolle proved this in a way that will surprise you. In 1977, he was on the brink of suicide. Deep depression had consumed his life. He wasn't a seasoned meditator. He hadn't studied for decades. He wasn't a spiritual master. He was just a desperate man. Not through technique, not through effort, but through complete surrender. Stopping, he found everything. It's the secret. It doesn't come from doing. It comes from relaxing so deeply into yourself that there's no one left trying to meditate. How do you access this practically? How do you teach your mind to stop trying? Technique that changed everything for Eckhart. Technique he teaches in private workshops, but rarely speaks about publicly. The 2-minute technique, where I show you exactly how to do it. You understand why 2 minutes are enough. Why you don't need long and complex sessions. Because presence has no time. You're truly present. It disappears. A minute can feel like an eternity. An hour can pass like a second. Presence exists outside of time. It's timeless, infinite, always available, and you can access it now. Feel that? This moment of recognition? This tiny pause between one thought and the next? Right there. That's the door. It's not through your breath. It's not through mantras. It's not through complex visualizations. It's through the space. Space between thoughts. Space between breaths. The space between the words you're hearing right now. That space is you. Not the you that thinks. Not the you that worries. Not the you that tries to meditate. The essential you. The eternal you. The you that has always been here, waiting to be recognized. Here's the part that will revolutionize your spiritual practice forever. You don't need to create this space. It already exists. You don't need to find it. It was never lost. You don't need to earn it. It's your birthright. You just need to recognize it. And that's what the 2-minute technique does. It doesn't create presence. It reveals the presence that's already here. But the problem that explains why tradition so many people frustrated. Meditation teaches you to seek. Eckhart's technique teaches you to everything changes. Your relationship with stress changes. Your relationship with anxiety changes. Your relationship with life changes. Because you stop being someone who needs to find peace. But let me tell you something that might still be blocking you. Something that blocks 90% of people who try this approach. They try to do it right. They turn non-doing into another technique to do. They turn surrender into another effort. They turn relaxation into another performance. And thus, they miss the point entirely. The beauty of presence is that it can't be done wrong, because there's nothing to do. There's only this moment, this breath, this peace that has always been here, waiting for you to stop searching for it. When you truly relax into this, when you stop trying to achieve enlightenment and simply rest in what you already are, something magical happens. You realize there was never anything wrong with you. You realize peace was never lost. You realize home was always here. This moment, in this presence, in this simple, eternal recognition of who you truly are. But here's where most people get lost. Here's where the mind tries to regain control. The mind says, okay, I get it. Now I'm going to practice being present. I'm going to do this perfectly. I'm going to achieve enlightenment through non-effort. See the irony? The mind has turned even relaxation into another project, another goal, another thing to conquer. And this is where the 2-minute technique becomes revolutionary. Because it's so short, the mind doesn't have time to strategize. So simple. There's nothing to do, right or wrong. 2 minutes. No agenda, no goal, nowhere to arrive. Just those 2 minutes. Something you never achieved in years of meditation might happen. Might remember who you are. Not through effort, not through technique, but through the most radical of all practices. Practice of not practicing. The path of having no path. The technique of having no technique. And that's exactly how Eckhart does it. Exactly as he teaches in his most intimate retreats. The secret door of presence. Take a deep breath, relax completely, and prepare to discover what lies beyond meditation. Prepare to discover what you always were. Here's the technique that changed everything. The technique Eckhart calls the portal of immediate presence. And I'll warn you again, your mind will resist. It will say this is too simple, that it can't be this, that there must be more. It will seek complexity. It will want to add steps. It will try to turn this into yet another practice to master. This resistance is already the first sign you're on the right path. Because the mind only resists what threatens its control. And this is the portal of immediate completely threatens its control. First minute, sit. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how. Chair, couch, floor, it doesn't matter. Close your eyes if you want, or keep them open. That doesn't matter either. And here's something crucial Eckhart always emphasizes. There's no right posture, no ideal environment, no perfect moment. Presence has no prerequisites. It's available here. Now, exactly as you are. Now, stop trying to do anything. That's right. Stop. And when I say stop, I mean really stop. Don't try to relax, because relaxing is still doing something. Don't try to focus, because concentration is still effort. Don't try to empty your mind, because emptying is still an action. Don't try to be spiritual. Don't try to be present. Don't try to be enlightened. Just stop and understand. This stopping isn't passivity. It's the most active thing you can do, because it requires you to let go of all conditioning that you need to do something to be complete. In the midst of this stopping, do only one thing, one single thing. Recognize that you are aware, not of something specific, just aware. And that's the key. Awareness isn't awareness of something. It simply is. Space that doesn't need objects to silence that doesn't need sounds to be real. Aware that there is an awareness here. Presence. A vast, silent space in which everything is happening. Thoughts are appearing in this space. Sensations are dancing in this space. Sounds are vibrating in this space. Emotions are moving in this space. Space remains untouched, unperturbed, always at peace. Like the sky that isn't touched by the clouds that pass through it. Like the ocean that isn't disturbed by the waves on its surface. Second, minute. Now comes the part that changes everything. Instead of focusing on any object of awareness, on any thought, sensation, or sound, simply recognize awareness itself. It's like turning your attention 180 degrees. Instead of looking outward, you look inward. Not to find something, to recognize what's already here. The very capacity to be aware. The very light of consciousness that makes all experience possible. It's like an eye trying to see itself, like a mirror trying to reflect itself. Impossible, and at the same time, obvious. And there, in that recognition, in that impossible turning of attention to itself, something extraordinary happens. You realize that this awareness has no form, no color, no texture, no limits, no boundaries, no beginning and no end. It wasn't born with you. It won't die with you. It simply is. Eternal, infinite, indestructible. And you are it. Not your body that's sitting here. Not your mind that's listening to this. Not your personal story. Not your fears. Not your desires. Not your problems. But this vast and luminous presence in which everything appears and disappears like dreams in the mind of a dreamer. Not your body, mind, not story, not problems, but this vast and silent presence in which everything appears and disappears. Remember you were never the wave, you always the ocean, never the cloud, always the sky, never the thought, always the space in which the thought appears. That's it. 2 minutes, nothing more. But let me tell you what happens after you do this a few times. And this is important because many people do the technique once or twice and think nothing changed. First, you realize you no longer need to enter presence because you never left it. You just forgot to recognize it. It's like realizing you were always at home, but you were spending all your time looking for the front door key. Door was never. Second, you realize you no longer need special circumstances to be at peace. You don't need absolute silence. You don't need a sacred place. You don't need your life to be in order, because peace doesn't depend on circumstances. It is who you are. Space doesn't depend on the objects it contains to exist. Third, and this is the most revolutionary, you realize that all your problems only exist when you identify with what you are not. When you remember who you really are, problems don't magically disappear. Bank account doesn't fill up. Your relationships don't become perfect. Your health doesn't regenerate instantly. They lose their power over you. Stop defining who you are. Temporary events, eternal space that you are. It's like waking up from a nightmare. Nightmare wasn't really happening, but while you were dreaming, it felt absolutely real. It felt urgent. It felt definitive. Human life is like that. We dream that we are separate, that we are small, that we are limited, that we are vulnerable, that we need to find peace somewhere out there. And then we wake up. We realize that peace was never lost, that we were never separate, that we were never small, that we were never vulnerable at the deepest level. We always were this. This conscious vastness, this infinite presence, this love without object and without reason. But here's something I need to tell you. Something that might happen after you experience this for the first time. The mind will try to bring you back. It will say, okay, that was nice. It was an interesting experience. But now we have important things to do, real problems to solve, people to impress, money to earn. And you might feel like you've lost something precious. You've fallen from grace, like you've been banished from paradise and are now condemned to wander the common and mundane earth. This is normal. This happens to everyone. And Eckhart went through this. But this is also part of awakening, part of the integration process. You begin to realize something profound. Paradise was never a place to go to. Paradise was never a special state to achieve. Paradise is what you are now, always, even when you don't feel special, even when you're not having mystical experiences, even when you're washing dishes or stuck in traffic. Presence isn't a state, it's your true nature, like the wetness of water, like the heat of fire, like the light of the sun. And no matter what happens in your life, no matter what challenges you face, you can always come home. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, to remember who you are, to find the peace that was never lost, to discover the love you always were. And here's the most beautiful part of all this. The more you practice this recognition, the more it becomes natural, spontaneous. You begin to recognize this presence in the middle of conversations, in traffic, during meetings, while washing dishes. You realize that your whole life can become a meditation. Not because you're always trying to meditate, but because you're always present. And being present isn't something you do, it's something you are. This changes everything. Your relationships change, and not because you try to change them, but because you stop trying to get love and start being love. Stop entering conversations, unconsciously asking, what can I gain here? How can I feel better? How can I prove my worth? And you start entering conversations, simply present, simply available, like an open space in which the other person can be who they truly are. This changes everything. A form of art, a meditation in motion. Spiritual life changes completely because you stop seeking God in books, temples or practices, and realize that God is what's seeking through you. You realize that every spiritual quest has always been God seeking God, consciousness seeking consciousness, love seeking love. And when you understand this, the seeking doesn't stop. It transforms. It becomes a game, a celebration, a dance. You don't stop reading spiritual books, but now you read them as confirmations, not as revelations. You don't stop meditating, but now you meditate as expression, not as seeking. And all of this through 2 minutes a day. 2 minutes that are not about doing something different, but about remembering who you always were. 2 minutes that are not about finding something new, but about recognizing what was never lost. 2 minutes that are not about becoming enlightened, but about realizing you were never dark. 2 minutes that are not about achieving peace, but about stopping war against what you are. Now I want you to understand something very important, something that Eckhart Tolle always emphasizes. This technique is not about creating special experiences. It's not about having mystical visions. It's not about feeling spiritual euphoria. It's about something much simpler and much deeper. It's about coming home to yourself, to what you always were before you learned you were something else. And sometimes, coming home can feel very ordinary, very simple, very normal. But this normality is the miracle itself, because you realize you don't need to be special to be complete. You don't need to be special to be loved. You don't need to be special to be enough. You already are all of that. Here, now, as you are. This realization changes everything without changing anything. You continue living your life. You continue having responsibilities. You continue facing challenges. Now you do all of this from a different place. From peace, from completeness, from love. People around you begin without understanding what changed. They feel a different presence in you. A calmness that doesn't depend on circumstances. A joy that doesn't depend on achievements. A love that doesn't depend on reciprocation. This is what happens when you stop trying to be someone and simply are. When you stop trying to find peace and recognize that you are peace. When you stop trying to meditate and realize that you are the meditation. And all of this in 2 minutes. But let me tell you a final secret, the most important secret of all. These 2 minutes aren't really about the 2 minutes. They're about remembering that every moment can be a portal. Every breath can be an awakening. Every recognition can be a homecoming. The technique is just a reminder, a finger pointing at the moon. The moon is you, the vastness that you are. The presence you always were, the love that never began because it never had an opposite. And when you truly understand this becomes alive in you. When this stops being an idea and becomes your lived reality, you notice something extraordinary. You realize there was never anything wrong with you, with your life, with your choices, with your mistakes, with the world, not because everything is perfect in the human sense of the word, but because everything is exactly as it needs to be for awakening to happen, including your frustration with meditation, including your years of spiritual seeking, including your moments of doubt and despair, including you being here, now, listening to these words. All of this has always been part of the perfect plan of consciousness, recognizing itself through you. Every moment of suffering was consciousness forgetting itself, to be able to experience the joy of remembering. Every moment of seeking was consciousness creating the illusion of being lost, to be able to experience the ecstasy of finding itself. Every moment of separation was consciousness pretending to be divided. To be able to experience the love of reuniting with itself. And now that you know the secret door, now that you know that peace has always been here, now that you understand that home was never a place, but rather what you are, what will you do? Will you continue searching as if you didn't know where to look? Or will you simply be? Will you continue trying to meditate as if presence were a skill to be developed? Or will you recognize that you are the meditation seeking itself? Will you continue trying to find God as if he were hidden somewhere? Or will you realize that God is exactly what is seeking through your eyes right now? The choice is yours. It always was, it always will be. But now you know there is always a door that is never closed, a door that requires no key, a door that you are 2 minutes away from what you always were, from what you never ceased to be, from what you will always be, always. On the other side of that door, there is no other side. There is only you, the real you, the eternal you, the you that was never born and will never die, waiting for yourself, with all the love you always were, with all the peace you never lost. By now, with all the completeness that never needed to be found because it was never lost. Welcome back home, to yourself, to what you always knew in the deepest silence of your heart. You are this. You always were this. You always will be this. And this is everything.